Hey, it's Maximo and welcome to Maximo's Travels. After exploring Awaji Island for 3 days, it's time to move on and explore Shikoku Island. We cross the Onaruto Bridge and Strait and take a walk, offering fantastic vantage points of the Wakayama Bay. We then take a challenging walk to the Otsuka Museum of Art, one of Japan's largest exhibition spaces that has thousands of replica artworks, including a replica of the Sistine Chapel, Leonardo da Vinci's Mona Lisa, Sunflowers by Vincent van Gogh, Whistler's Mother, The Scream, just to name a few. We drive for many hours and finally figure out how to use the Japanese toll system with our credit cards. We travel well off the beaten path and go to a towel museum. It's one of the most unusual and memorable museums I've ever been to, where you see towels not only being made but displayed as works of art. We keep driving through terrible weather conditions and reach our final destination for the day, Kotchi. Join me as we go off the beaten path and start exploring the remote island of Shikoku in Japan. We'd spent 3 wonderful days touring around Awaji Island in Japan. We set off nice and early. Unfortunately, after 3 days of glorious blue skies and fair weather, the weather had turned. It was quite overcast and it was threatening to rain. Our destination for the next few days was Shikoku Island. This is considerably larger than Awaji Island. Shikoku Island is the smallest of the 4 main islands of the Japanese island group. However, it's significantly larger than Awaji Island. Awaji Island is around 592 square kilometres, whereas Shikoku Island is 18,800 square kilometres. And because of the size of Shikoku Island, we did somewhat underestimate the amount of driving that we'd need to do in our visit there. We were on the Kobe Awaji Naruto Expressway and the Onaruto Bridge. This bridge was completed in 1985 and its main span is 876 metres across. The total length of this suspension bridge is 1,629 metres, a hell of a lot shorter than the nearly 4 kilometre long suspension bridge, the Akashi Kokoto Bridge that we were on several days earlier. And it didn't feel quite as perilous to be driving on. I'm not sure that's because of the low speed, 40 kilometres an hour across here because roadworks were happening, or the lessened height compared to the other bridge. And it somehow felt less impressive going over the top of it than going underneath it like we did the day before to check out the famous Naruto whirlpools. It didn't take us very long to cross the bridge and get to our first destination, which is located just at the end of the bridge on the Shikoku side. Our destinations were the Naruto Observatory and Park, as well as the Otsuka Museum of Art. These 2 attractions are located quite close to each other on the northern tip of Shikoku Island. The journey from the Grand Mercure Hotel to these facilities was less than 10 minutes and just over 6 kilometres away. It was quite a picturesque drive on a very grey day towards the northern end of Shikoku Island. We passed beaches as well as apartment houses to reach our destination. We passed several large car parks, but these seemed to be quite some distance from our destination. However, they were serviced by free shuttle buses. We were fairly unsure where to park, so we just kept driving. And some of the car parks were closed because I think it was the off-season. In the end, we just kept driving all the way to the end, to the very last car park. We drove past the museum and its car park all the way to the very end of the road, past a couple of closed car parks to the end one that's designated for the observatory area. And while the area and the attractions look fairly close together, it is quite a hilly area and it does take quite a while to walk between the museum and the observatory area. From memory, it costs around 500 yen, or about $5 to park here. It costs 400 yen to visit the observatory. Because it was such a grey day and we'd been underneath the bridge the day before, we didn't bother going to the observatory, but we settled for a walk along the expressway overpass instead. Apparently you can also get a fantastic view of the Naruto whirlpools, but the tides this early in the morning weren't right to be able to do that. And from this overpass, not only get a good view of the expressway, but of the Onaruto Bridge as well. You can see the Otsuka Museum of Art high on the hill in the distance. We consulted a local map and apparently it was only a 10-minute walk down a bush path to reach it. So we set off along what turned out to be quite a tough and challenging path along the shore of Wakayama Bay. And the walk did provide some stunning views of the bay. This looked a lot easier on the map than it is. Whew. Alright, so we've walked to the back of the museum, and it's a suburb.
We should go to the main entrance.
Yeah, which is sort of down the hill. Well, there's the museum there. Another 7 minutes. Oh well, let's go. Yes, and the more we kept walking, the more we regretted our decision to come this way. It did offer some stunning views of the surrounding area, but all those steps were brutal on the knees. It was also quite cold, only about 7 or 8 degrees Celsius, but with a light wind. It was quite grey, but looking at some of these pictures, it probably looked a lot better than it actually felt doing this walk. We eventually reached the front entrance of the museum. Yeah, we found the entrance. And good news, there might be a bus back to our car park. After seeing almost no Western visitors on Awaji Island, I was quite surprised at the number I saw at this museum. 3,300 yen for admission. And one of the things I didn't appreciate until I looked on Google Earth was that the museum is actually built inside and on top of a very large hill, which would explain the really long and steep escalator that takes you from the museum's ticket booth all the way to its foyer. This museum allows you to take videos and photos without flash, but tripods aren't allowed. We passed through the foyer and we entered the museum proper. This is probably one of the most unique and weird museums of art I've ever been to. The very first room that we entered was a scale model of the Vatican's Sistine Chapel. And if you watch my Where in the World is Maximo's short, the video that for all intents and purposes shows that I'm in the Sistine Chapel, well, it's not the Vatican, it's not Italy, it's this art museum, the Otsuka Museum of Art on Shikoku Island. This place is utterly surreal, and the highlight is this room, the replica of the Sistine Chapel. The museum is absolutely massive, and it hosts over 1,000 reproductions of world-famous artworks, including the Mona Lisa and the Last Supper. But the absolute highlight of the museum has to be this room. The museum was founded in 1998 and is one of the largest exhibition spaces in all of Japan. The reproductions are faithful to the original size and colours and are a combination of photos and hand-painted works on ceramic boards. Pompeii, the banquet hall of the mysteries. in Turkey. And they've even done the floors correctly as well. It's unbelievable. That is a very famous Botticelli di Uffizi in Florence. It's another Botticelli. And there's no queue in front of the Mona Lisa. And that is a very famous Michelangelo. Having a short break at the cafe. This has been an intriguing museum. Intriguing. Been here for a couple of hours. We've got another hour to go, I think. So Joe, what sort of museum have you brought me to?
Well, the Otsuka Museum of Art, and you couldn't find this in English, but Google Translate is great. It's the world's first ceramic panel masterpiece museum.
Ceramic panels?
Yeah, so they print onto ceramic panels. You can see all the paintings are made up of panels, not one piece. They're kind of taken from a certain size, I guess. And sometimes they're touched up afterwards. So there are Western art ranging from ancient mural to modern paintings from over 190 art museums in 26 countries around the world. So it's like doing a whistle-stop tour
of all the best paintings in the whole world.
Yes, well, many famous paintings.
It's been fascinating, hasn't it?
It's quite busy, but not too busy that you can get a good look at the places.
Yeah. And no queue in front of the Mona Lisa either.
No. Not like the real one.
Exactly.
Yeah, very interesting.
They even have Turner here. And Constable. Renoir. Monet. Degas. Toulouse-Lautrec, Manet, Gauguin, Vincent van Gogh. I saw this when it came to Melbourne quite a few years ago. Stunning. That is absolutely huge. By David. That was unexpectedly good. We've spent a good 3 hours here, and I was mightily impressed with everything that we saw. It was just so realistic, and such a huge, wide collection of masterpieces under the one roof. I'd encourage you to come here. We finished at the museum and then rode the long elevator down to the ticketing area, followed by a long cold uphill walk to our car. And by the time we got to our car, it started to rain and the temperature had dropped even more. We were in for a reasonably long drive. Joe had particularly wanted to go to a Tao Museum. This is 178 kilometres and 2¼ hour drive away. The museum was just on the outskirts of the town of Inbari, on the north coast of Shikoku Island. Most of the way was on toll roads. Routes E32 and E11. They were inland and a somewhat boring and uneventful drive, and it kept raining on and off during that drive. We did manage to get 1 or 2 glimpses of the coastline, as well as some of the coastal cities along the elevated roadways. Our excitement for the day came when we tried to pay for the toll road at the end.
Use the right lane to take the slip road, then turn right.
Okay, put this in that way, yeah. Well, just watch. You put it into number 1 spot. Just stick it in. Wait for it to watch the blue bars going. Because you think nothing's happening for a while. And then you begin to get worried it swallowed your card.
Right.
And you're on. Take their receipt.
Where is it?
I heard something.
Where's the receipt?
I don't know. I heard something print.
Receipt.
There we are.
I have to press the red button for the receipt. How much was it?
It's a bit cheaper than we thought.
How much?
$37.90.
$37.90.
Yeah.
We've covered about 100 kilometres or so.
Yeah, a bit more than that, I think. So, like, it's going to be about 40 Australian dollars.
Yeah.
Maybe a bit less.
Not exactly cheap.
No, but we've come a long way.
All right.
At the light, turn right, then turn right.
If you want to go see the Tao Museum, just look out for this horrible brown pedestrian overpass, and basically you're there. Just beyond the multi-storey building that looks pretty much like a hotel, you'll find quite a large car park, and there's plenty of parking. Considering how fairly remote this place was, the car park was quite full. There were even some tour buses here. Parking at the museum is free. We've arrived at the Tao Museum. Awful day, raining. We arrived about 4 p.m. and unfortunately didn't have a lot of time to spend at the museum. Its opening hours are 9:30 a.m. to 6 p.m. all year round. It's also closed some days during the winter, so be sure you check its website before you visit. This museum is a private museum owned by the Ichihiro Company, a very famous towel manufacturer in Japan. It is a very large complex. It comprises a shop that's spread over a couple of different floors, special permanent and special exhibition areas, a cafe and restaurant, and a garden. The area of the shop is huge, and you can purchase all sorts of different towels, including specialty towels, towels that are made in collaboration with different art houses, and just your normal run-of-the-mill bath towels. There is a cafe, but it appears to be closed. The entrance to the gallery and the exhibit area is on the top floor and cost 1,000 yen, or about $10 per adult in Australian dollars. And compared to temples and other attractions in Japan, this is slightly on the expensive side. Everything's quite well signposted, and you enter through some double doors into the start of the gallery and exhibit hall. Joe had wanted to come here, so I hadn't done any research and had absolutely no idea what to expect. The first thing we saw was a huge long wall full of multicoloured cotton threads, and on the other side of the long hall were huge machines that cleaned and spun the cotton threads into towels. Some of the machines were old and museum pieces, while others were state-of-the-art and very modern. It was utterly fascinating to see how cotton could be turned into towels, something that we use every day of our lives. And they're so fluffy, nice and colourful. Japan is renowned for making the highest quality towels in the world. It was just so interesting to see how many different processes and machines were involved in the manufacturing process. Some of the machines were operating and they were very loud. It was utterly fascinating to see a complex machine using patterns to make all the different sorts of towels in varying colours. All the towels were able to be purchased in the shop below. And it wasn't just one or two machines, it was dozens upon dozens of different machines making towels of different sizes and different colours according to their assigned patterns. The noise and complexity of the manufacturing area gave way to the relative peace and tranquility of the exhibition area. The exhibition area had a number of collaborations, one with Newman's, Finnish cartoon characters that are very popular in Japan. Large windows on the top floor of the gallery provided an excellent view of the gardens below, but it was too cold, wet and the wrong seasons to check out the gardens on our visit. There were all sorts of different collaborations, including this one, which was a house of some sort of animals I couldn't really identify. I can only presume they're popular in Japan. I don't know what to make of this, or what it's got to do with towel. Anyway, there was another long wall of coloured cottons. These look like premium threads. Joe was particularly impressed. That framed artwork is a towel. And there's another one. I know that some towels, such as tea towels, can be very, very intricate, but I never viewed them as artworks before. Well, I'd say this probably isn't artwork.
I don't understand what's going on here today, gentlemen.
I see you taking a picture of that towel house.
Cotton reel house.
Cotton reel house, is it?
It's not a towel, is it?
I wouldn't know my towels from my cottons. There's such a unique, diverse and eclectic collection of items on display in the gallery. Some of them are large, intricate and beautiful. I didn't quite know what to expect when I came, but I'm really glad that I came here in the end. To get to one section of the gallery to the other, you walk on a transparent walkway that's full of coloured cotton reels. Truly interesting. The different displays keep on going and going. There was even a huge collaboration with Peter Rabbit. The World of Peter Rabbit by Beatrice Potter is famous the world over, especially with young kids. This exhibit was quite large and quite tasteful. It was also incredibly detailed. Everything here is made of towels. It's fabric. Towels. Just amazing.
I think these might be printed rather than woven.
Printed?
I think so.
It's on a material though.
Oh, it is, yeah, it's material.
Fascinating. You're in your element, aren't you, Joe? You are.
Colours are amazing. Even just to come here and see the colours.
A little longer than a few minutes later.
We spent about an hour and a half in the gallery and then headed downstairs to the gift shops. It was reasonably late. The place had emptied out and it was approaching closing time. Joe managed to have a look around and buy quite a few things, including some souvenirs and washi tape. And I'd have to say this is probably one of the most unique and memorable museums I've been to in quite some time. It certainly was well off the beaten path, and unlike the art museum, we didn't see another single Westerner in here. Sadly, the weather outside hadn't improved and the temperature was hovering just above 0 Celsius, about 32 degrees Fahrenheit. We hopped back in the car and set out in quite bleak and wintry conditions. Our destination was Kotchi, a 2.5 hour and 120 kilometre drive away. We were driving from the north coast of Shikoku Island to the south coast, over the island's hilly spine. In planning out our itinerary, I do think we underestimated just how large Shikoku Island actually was. As a result, we did a lot of driving from one attraction to the next. In hindsight, we should have allowed more time to explore the island or concentrated our activities in a smaller area of it. We were a little bit concerned that the roads would be quite narrow and twisty going through the mountains, but in fact the road was of quite a high standard and nice and wide. And because of the hilly terrain, there were lots of high bridges as well as long, deep tunnels. And it's a pity the weather wasn't any kinder to us to enable us to enjoy the vistas. The population of Imbari was around about 40,000 people, while Kotchi, our destination, was around 320,000 people, so you would expect fairly decent roads between these two major towns and cities. We arrived at Kotchi right on dusk and in quite heavy rain, in heavy traffic, and with plenty of roadworks about. It was slightly stressful driving, but we did manage to navigate our way to our hotel, the Omo 7, which is located just on the edge of the centre of the city. We found the front entrance of the hotel, drove into it, checked in, and then parked our car in the car park located way at the back of the hotel. All up, we'd travel about 400 kilometres, and it took us around about 5 or so hours to cover the distance. Our stay at the Omo 7 Hotel in Kotchi was unique and memorable. I will do a full separate review of this hotel in the coming weeks. After checking in, we made it to our hotel room that offered stunning views of Kotchi and had a very well-earned rest. After having visited two very unique and off-the-beaten-path attractions on Shikoku Island, we only hoped that the weather would improve in the coming days. I do hope you've liked this video. If so, please consider hitting that like and subscribe button. Hit that notify bell so you'll never miss another upcoming video. If you'd like to support my channel, please consider buying me a coffee or hit that super thanks button. Until next time, you take care and bye now.